made 105K in the first 7 weeks of trading with prop firms. I hope that says a lot about our guest for today. He's been funded with various prop firms, and at the moment he withdrew his first 5K with GoFunded Trader. He trades one single pair, which is Euro USD. So let's welcome our next GoFunded trader, the Euro Trader.
Thank you. You have a nice studio.
Thank you so much. I worked a lot on it.
What, is that in the Philippines, yeah?
Yeah, it's in the Philippines. Let me know. Are you ready to start with the questions?
Okay, yeah, I'm ready.
Perfect. So can you make a short presentation about yourself for the traders that are watching?
A short introduction about me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Ryhan. I'm the Euro trader on Twitter. Been trading for 15 years now. So I started when I was 22. Yeah, long time. Success has only come to me recently. It took a lot of hard work, a lot of persistence, a lot of downs, but now we're on the up, and 2023 has been transformational for me. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey. Entered into the prop space in May of this year. Started doing challenges. I was over 700K funded by July. Had over $100,000 in payouts by August. Went on a losing streak end of August and September. Lost all my funding. Started a load of challenges again in early October, end of September. I'm funded now, the most I've ever been funded. So I think I've just hit 3.25 million funded now. And this month has just been crazy for me.
That's crazy. Like what I'm hearing right now, I didn't know all of this about you. And I'm so amazed. I didn't know that it's been like 15 years since you've been trading, and only right now in 2023, you actually got funded and
I only discovered prop firms in this year, actually. So before that, I was just trading personal. The limiting factor was capital, because I couldn't scale capital. I didn't have access to large capital. And I was still refining my strategy. I was still working on consistency. And I've just kept improving, really. Like I always say to people, I'm better than I was last week, and next week I'll be better than I am today. I'm always improving, always refining. And like any profits I made on personal, it was just all being withdrawn. So it's very hard to scale the account, because obviously I had rent to pay, got bills, groceries. So yeah, trading prop has just changed my life.
I see. I understand totally. It's same for me, but I didn't have such a long journey as you did. I still have a lot to learn. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And I didn't mention, but you are here because you've got the 5K payout from GoFunded Trader, right? Besides a lot of payouts from another prop firm you had, you tried GoFunded. Can you tell me how was the experience with trading with Goat?
The experience was amazing. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken the interview. I don't know what I can say. Very smooth, efficient. Credentials came really quick. When I passed phase 1, credentials came again very quick for phase 2. Funded account, I think, was given within 24 hours. The KYC's verification was super fast. I took advantage of the payout on demand feature. So I think, is it 4% you have to make? So I got a 200K account funded. So once I hit 204,000, I was eligible for a payout. So I actually hit 205, and then I withdrew. So I think I was trading that account for 11 days. So after 11 days, I did the payout on demand feature, which I believe is quite fairly new. Yeah, processed a payout to Wise, and that came. I think I processed it on a Friday, and by Monday I got the funds into my account. So super efficient from start to finish. Been really impressed. And on the trading side as well, executions, fills, spreads, everything's been great. No complaints.
You call yourself the Euro trader. Is Euro USD the only pair that you are trading?
Yeah, so I pride myself on being a specialist in the Euro USD. I like to say I'm the authority on Euro USD trades, as per my Twitter bio. I zoned in on Euro USD probably from, I think, 2015, 2016. So about 7 years into my journey. So about halfway through, I just found there's nothing quite like it in terms of how technical it is. It's the most widely traded currency pair there is. It's the most liquid therefore it's the most technical. It moves based on structures as well. When I started out trading, I only used to trade fibs. So just Fibonacci retracements and like basic trend line support and resistance. And then I think in 2015, I started experimenting with Elliott wave theory, but I just found it too subjective. So I wanted to find my own strategy that could make it more objective. So mechanize it, make it rules based. So yeah, that's been my journey from 2015 to now. Has been all about just refining my strategy, which is just based on candlestick structure, fib retracements, fib extensions, and tram lines. And I found a really accurate way to time swings. And not only is it one currency pair, it's just one time frame as well. So I only trade a 4-hour chart on the Euro USD. So my entries, exits, analysis is all on just the 4-hour. I don't start at a high time frame and then take entries on a lower time frame. It's just literally the 4-hour time frame. So yeah, I just trade Euro USD, nothing else.
So Euro USD, one single time frame, one pair. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Would you mind showing the viewers a little bit of your strategy, like just some ideas about it, because you can show it here. You have a button underneath.
Present.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Just in a simple, short way. You don't have to be really precise with it.
Yeah, can you see my trading view?
Not right now.
Oh yeah, window. Yeah, I got it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just one thing to note about my strategy is I always say this: I don't think there's anyone that trades the way I do. So be prepared for something that looks very different to what you're used to. I don't trade SMC or ICT. This is fully proprietary, bespoke strategy to me that I've developed from the ground up. So it's based on structures. So you see all these labels. You see micro A, micro B, micro C. You see this big A here, a big B, big C. So these are my setups. So I have a list of microstructures, I call them, that occur repeatedly over and over. So if I was to go back, this chart is labeled up going back to 2019. And wherever you see a micro C, so these little blue labels, is where I would want to be getting into a swing. So I have candlestick confirmations for that based on how many candles you have above a swing high. So for example, if you look at this one here, and it's all completely rules based, by the way, so I'm not just randomly choosing where to place my micro A or my micro B. It's all based on degrees of retracement. So my strategy actually defines different types of retracement. So if you look at this retracement here, for example, you can see this is 2 red candles. So how do you distinguish between 2 red candles or just 1 red candle, or a red candle followed by a wick below that then finishes green? So I have first degree, second degree, third degree retracement. And then, I have rules based on where to place the A and the B. Again, it takes 10 to 15 hours to teach the strategy because there's many components and that make up the strategy. But essentially, it's just identifying swings and then getting in for a retracement, either once you get confirmation, targeting a retracement to minimum 50% or 100%. So I'll see if I can find an example from recently of a few trades that I've taken. So for example, a macro structure is 2 microstructures joined. So you can see this is one microstructure here with a big macro A. And then this is another microstructure here. So this is a A, B, and a macro C. Now, when you have this particular setup, I'm always targeting minimum 50 to 61.8 retracement. Now, that's based on journaling. So I've journaled every single macro ABC structure going back to 2019. So if I now just draw a fib on here, you can see that came to a minimum 50 to 61.8. So my job is looking for a sell here and then targeting a minimum of this 50% retracement. So that was what, 570s. That was well over 100 pips there. So that's just one example. Another example. Let's look for another example.
I can admit that I never seen something like that before.
Yeah, it's crazy. Everyone says that. I have a few students that I'm mentoring, and they're all just amazed by every session. They're like, "Oh, I can't believe how amazing this is." Things are starting to click in my head. But yeah, so that was a macro ABC structure. This is what I call an incomplete corrective structure here in the middle. So if you look at this, we have this micro A, B, C, and then can you see how it just came down in straight red candles below this tram line? So when that happens, these structures always retrace 100%. Once you break below this tram line, I'm looking for shorts targeting 100%. So 100% retracement of the whole move up. So just there. So again, once you break below this tram line around the 880s, you're targeting 765. So that's 115 pips. So again, these are big trades. And just if anyone's wondering, how do I draw these tram lines? The reason why I call them tram lines is because they're not trend lines. So you'll see all my tram line pairs are always drawn from the start of the microstructure to the low of the micro B. So again, fully rules-based and objective. And then the second tram line is always drawn from the top of the corrective candle. So I've found a way to define what a corrective candle is and what an impulsive candle is. So one candle close above this swing high here where this red line is. This green candle close here is your corrective candle. So my upper tram line, so lower tram line is drawn from the start to the low of micro B, and then the upper tram line is always drawn from the high of the corrective candle. So just here where my cursor is. So yeah, I use tram line pairs as well to give confluences for confirmations into trades. So like I say, as soon as this broke below, I'm then looking for a sell targeting 100%. Yeah, I think that gives a gist of it. Was that right?
Wow. Yeah. Again, I can say that I understood the idea overall, but of course, this thing is deep. Like you can't understand it in a couple of minutes.
No.
And you mentioned the fact that you have a mentorship for it, right? And
yeah. There's a lot of layers to it. You have to learn what an impulsive candle is, what a corrective candle is, how to draw tram line pairs. And the main thing is how to trail candlestick structure. So where to label the A, where to label your B, and then confirmation that your micro C is in. That's the key. So yeah, like I say, it's taken me 10 years to develop. So it's not something I can demonstrate very quickly over, a few minutes. But yeah, I have many different types of structures, about 10 types of structures, all journaled. I'm always referring back to the journals. Yeah. By the way, just currently where price action is. So this is what I would call an outside split microstructure. So you can see again my micro A, micro B. You can see we've come to this 50% here after we broke below the tram line. We came to the 50. We've gone up to new highs. I'm looking for this to carry on up to at least this 100% Fibonacci extension target. So here's I start the draw here. Again, fully rules based. I draw it to the top of the micro A, and then I pull the tool down to the low of micro B, and you can see that gives a 100% Fibonacci extension target at 1064, hence this gray box. So eventually I'm looking for the 1064 to trades. Now, it doesn't have to go straight there. It may do a correction now like this, a three-wave move, and then go up. But minimum 1064s and above in the next few days or week, 2 weeks, I would say. And also on my weekly, I believe I did post this on Twitter, actually. I have a target of 1264s. So can you see this weekly chart?
Yes.
Yeah. So I had an entry confirmation here. I think I posted it around here, around the 650s maybe, on Twitter. So yeah, we're already up like 200-300 pips. But I'm looking for this to eventually take out this swing high from mid-July. So yeah, it's 1275. So That's my targets. Predicting I'll trade by end of January, end of February, so not long. I think it'll get there fairly quick. So yeah.
So that's the way that you trade. Honestly, I was in your group. I entered it a couple of months ago because I'm trading Euro USD as well. And I
Okay.
was like, okay, this is kind of different. And I remember that I stopped looking, but I was so amazed by it because it was so different than what I've seen before. And you
Yeah.
said that you developed it in 10 years. How did it come to your mind to develop your own strategy if there are a lot of strategies available already and are circulating? Like, weren't you okay with the other strategies that existed?
So when I started trading, like I don't think there was ICT or anything like that. It was just basic strategies. Obviously, you had Elliott wave theory, you had fibs. So I did actually have a mentor it was a trading room I was in. So it wasn't a mentor, but that's where my love of fibs came from. So 2008 to 2012, I was in a trading room. And that's where I sort of fell in love with Fibonacci retracements. I didn't know about Fibonacci extensions though then. It was just Fibonacci retracements. And yeah, like there was no Twitter then. The YouTube wasn't really big for like education. There wasn't really any social media, so there was like no mentorship courses you could take. There were just some trading rooms and websites that you could go to. So I just learned the basics like technical analysis, basic support resistance, trend lines, basic chart patterns. Yeah, after fibs I went to Elliott wave, and I knew that that Elliott wave is onto something, but it was just too subjective for me. So people would always say afterwards, oh, it was like a 3 or a double 3 WXYXZ or an ABC corrective pattern. So I knew I could make it better myself. So I just spent hours and hours on the charts, thousands and thousands of hours of screen time, back testing, journaling. And yeah, it was never on my mind really to use anyone else's strategy. I just wanted to develop my own that I was comfortable with. And that's what led me to where I am now.
Oh, okay. That's great. I never heard anybody with this kind of story. And
Yes,
you started 15 years ago. Like, that's a long time ago, I can
very
tell.
long time. Yeah,
What
very
was
long.
what was the reason behind it?
So initially my uncle introduced me to it. I think I was about 17, 18 years old. So that was 20 years ago I got introduced to it, but I didn't start trading full time till 15 years ago. So his friend introduced him, and then he introduced me. He said, oh, there's this trading instrument called CFDs, a contract for difference, which is what most people trade with now. He explained it to me, like how you made money. So like you could buy 10 contracts. So every point move in the market would mean like you make $10 a point. And yeah, we just started trading together. And I think what fascinated me was the fact that you could trade, like you could tailor it to you. You could get your freedom, your time, and make as much money as you want. Obviously, you can lose a lot of money, which is what I did for many, many years. I was not profitable, but I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I knew I could make it work. The main thing for me was just freedom of my time, financial freedom. And yeah, I was just hooked. I was fascinated by the markets. I think I took to it quite naturally in terms of charting. I was fascinated with technical analysis. And that started my love affair with charts, I guess. And yeah.
So you've been fascinated by it, and you really liked it. So it means that meantime you had another source of income in order to cover to cover this passion that you have. Because I'm pretty sure that a lot of viewers tend to maybe give up on their job and start trading or wishing for big profits from the start. Like, what advice would you give to these people that want to make profits fast? Because you have a lot of experience, you can surely tell your own story.
Yeah, so I learned the hard way. So don't copy me, guys and girls. So I was that guy who started trading as soon as I came out of uni at 22 years old. I did my master's and I said to my parents, I want to trade full time. I thought I had a strategy that was good. I thought it was good at the time in 2008. That's when we had the global financial crisis, the markets crashed, and it was a really steep learning curve. Now, I didn't have that much pressure on me because I lived at home. So, I didn't have to pay any bills, any rent or anything. So I had that chance to mess up and lose money. And I was borrowing money from people. I got into debt. So I just want to say the one thing that I've learned and the one thing that I tell all my community, all my students, like members in my groups, do not quit your job to start trading. Trading doesn't take days and weeks. You're not going to become consistent in weeks and months. It takes months and years, most likely years. You're going to take at least, you need to give 3 to 5 years to this to become consistent. I would recommend you start on demo. Once you're profitable on demo for at least, I'd say at least 6 months, then move to live funds. Do not go to prop. And I recommend you trade demo, then trade live funds, because you need to know what it feels like to trade your own money. That'll give you an appreciation of risk of losing, because at the end of the day, you are going to lose. It's like any job, any profession. It takes 4 or 5 years to become an expert at it, right? And to become consistent. So yeah, if you do want to do it full time, make sure you have at least 12 months of salary expenses in the bank, because you're probably not going to make money for the first year. And then after 6 to 12 months of trading consistently, because you need to go through different market periods. There's going to be times when the market consolidates, times when the market's trending. So you want to make sure that your strategy is adapted to cope with those different market periods. And then, yeah, after at least 12 months of consistency, if you want to go into prop and scale your capital, I highly recommend going into prop firms, because, I've been really profitable this year, but I'm only that profitable because of the 15 years that happened before. I always say to everyone, my driving instructor, when I learned to drive, always said this to me, and it always stuck with me. So I say, difference between learning and passing your test is this much, but the difference between passing your test and becoming experienced is this much. So you can't buy experience. There's no shortcuts. You have to, experience isn't cheap either, I always say to people. So, you have to go through the trenches. You're going to go through a lot of hardship, but you have to be persistent. And as long as you believe in yourself and you're doing the right things, you're journaling, you're spending time on the charts and analyzing when the markets are closed on the weekends, I always say, is when I get better. So on the weekends, I love to journal because my mind's clear, the markets are shut, no disturbances, nothing interrupting me. Do that, and over the long term, just make small gains week to week, month to month, and improve. And I guarantee you'll be profitable.
That was great. That was really valuable, and I can see myself in what you mentioned right there, because
Yeah.
I was, let's say, I have like 5 years of trading experience right now. I don't consider myself the best yet. I have a lot to learn, and what you said is amazing. Like, it's really amazing and really inspiring for most of the traders. And a really interesting thing that I observed about you is the fact that day by day, when I open Twitter, I see your posts about passing another challenge, getting another payout. It's always you getting something out of platforms. So I also observed that you've got 105K. You mentioned that in the beginning, in the first 7 weeks, if I'm right, when you started trading prop firms. Like, how do you approach prop firms? Because it's one thing to have a funded account and to get a payout, but you're doing it constantly. You're passing them constantly, you're receiving payouts. And also there was one about a skill funded trader, I believe. You got the largest payout or something, if I
Yes,
remember
I'm on
correctly.
the leaderboard for the largest payout in the last 7 or 30 days, I believe. So I think just under 10K. So yeah, I was on the leaderboard with SFT. I was on the leaderboard with My Funded FX. I had a payout from them. I'm on the leaderboard again, by the way. I've just processed another payout with them. I'll be posting on that today. We can speak about it here if you want. Funded Engineer, I was on the leaderboard. I've just processed a payout today for that. E8, I've just processed a payout today for that. And who's the other one? Funded Next as well. So there's a few firms. Yeah. It's crazy. So I think I posted a tweet yesterday. So what do you want me to talk about? Like this round of so now that I'm funded and the payouts, or do you want me to go back to July when I made the 105K? It's up to you.
Yeah, you can start with the 100K, and then you can continue with how you got this many live accounts passed, because
Yes.
that's impressive. Like, not a lot of people can do it, honestly.
Yeah, so it's all about scaling because I'm confident in my strategy and I only trade one currency. And remember, I don't scalp. So because I trade the 4 hour, I think it's more manageable because it's a larger time frame. So on average, I'm taking maybe one to two trades a week. So on average, I'd say 6 to 8 trades a month based on my data. Plus, I use a trade copier. So you have to use a trade copier if you're managing this many accounts. And I'm placing the same trade across all my accounts. So I'm not trading them differently. I'm not trading just 2 or 3 and then trading another 2 or 3. They're all on my trade copier. So I think at the moment I've got 3.25 million on a trade copier right now. Yeah. So when I started out, I just started small actually. I did some giveaways with a few firms. So I just focused on passing those. They were like 25Ks, 15Ks. I passed those and then I was like, okay, let me buy my own. And then I scaled up. I never bought the max accounts challenges you could buy back then because I was new to it. So I just wanted to ease my way in. So I think I had like 100Ks, a few 200Ks. And then once I'd passed those and started getting payouts, I scaled up a little bit. I think I bought a couple of 400Ks, but I lost those because that was towards the back end of August when I went on a losing streak. End of August, September, I had about 6-7 losses. But yeah, before that, I was just scaling up slowly. I wasn't using a trade copier in the beginning, so I was pulling my hair out. I was going crazy. So I'd never used a trade copier. I'd never even used MT4, MT5. That was all new to me because I was trading just personal account with a spread betting broker in UK, CMC Markets. So I had IG and CMC. So you just execute within their own platforms. So I'd always seen like screenshots of MT4, MT5 on Twitter, people trading all around the world. And I used to think like, what is that? How come everyone uses MT4, MT5? Because in UK, if you trade, you usually spread bet. So it's totally different. You just execute the trades within like your broker platform, and it's not MetaTrader. So it was a steep learning curve. There was a lot to take on, but I learned really quickly. And then I probably maybe halfway through July after I was funded, I started with a trade copier. So I use Traders Connect for anyone that's interested. It's really good. It's cloud-based and it's around $10 per account that you add. So it's not too expensive. And then, because I trade from swing to swing on the euro dollar, I'll take one swing and then I'll exit and then I'll enter another swing. So on the charts that you just saw, you'll notice there's no gaps. Everything's labeled. So I literally go from one trade to the next to the next. It's very rare that I'm flat in the market. I usually go from one trade to the next. Sometimes I am flat, but a lot of the times, just by the nature of the strategy, once I exit, it means there's a swing the other way. Once I exit, there's a swing the other way. And that's how I trade. So I was able to generate profits on multiple accounts because I was trading one pair, one time frame, same trades, and using a trade copier. And then, fast forward to currently being funded 3.25 million. I bought all the challenges in one go, most of them. So I spent about 15K, I think, maybe more, could be 15 to 17K. I'd have to work it out. So end of September, early October, I bought all those challenges. And this time, because I was comfortable with prop firms and the idea of placing everything on a trade copier, I went for max accounts with everyone, and I've passed them all. I've had a great run. I've had a great September, a great October, and a great November. So I think on average, from starting the challenge to passing, normally takes me, I'd say, 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, and then let's say usually you're waiting 2 weeks for a payout. So from starting a challenge to payout is usually 6 to 8 weeks. So I've started getting payouts now because I've passed all my challenges. I've just passed another 200K, which I haven't posted yet. So that takes me to 3.25 funded. I think, so I've had the 5K from Goat funded, about 25K processed. And then I think just today alone, I've requested another 70K. So I think I'm going to have a 100K plus month, which if you just said that to me in 2022, you're going to be trading prop and you're going to have a 100K plus month, I'd have said you're crazy. It's never going to happen. So it's just speaks testament to how prop firms can change your life if you know what you're doing. But I do stress you have to know what you're doing. Start with one account, become consistent first, then start with an account, get a payout, and then reinvest it into more challenges if you're comfortable. But once your strategy's down, I don't think anything beats prop firms in terms of scaling.
That's like a huge story that I'm hearing right now. Again, it's amazing. And I can believe that you even got to a stage where you lost them all and you got back up strong. Like,
Yeah.
nothing happened. Like, how did you get through that period and came back being funded with a lot of funds again? Like,
So
what was the process?
I always say whenever I go for a losing streak, I journal, I go back to my journal, I improve, I refine, and then I come back. So every time I've had a losing streak, I always come back a better trader, every single time. And that's the reason why, this year has been my best year ever. I've made a lot of improvements, massive improvements. And again, I go back to my journal. So I journal my structures. It's all on a Word document. So I screenshot the structures. So I have one Word document for each type of structure. I journal the dates that they happened with a screenshot. And then I put bullet points underneath just with notes on where to enter, where to exit, what to look for in terms of candlestick structure, entries, exits, invalidations, stop losses. So yeah, I had a losing streak. I saw a few structures that I wasn't really that. It's not that I wasn't comfortable with them. I knew the structures, but they just played out a little bit differently. So I always say, like, history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. So you have to apply the principles of your strategy, but don't expect it to be exact every time. So I found a way to just go back to basics and just get better. Also, I've scaled down my risk now. So in July, when I had those payouts, I was risking straight off the bat 2% because I'm just swing trading and I'm only taking like 6 to 8 trades a month. It doesn't make sense for me to risk 1/4% or 0.5% because I'm in the trades for like up to a week or so. So I need to risk a little bit more. So my RRs are like 1-to-1, usually 1-to-1, between 1 and 1 and 1 and 2. So that's why I need to risk a little bit more in order for it to be worth it for me. But now my mindset has been to get as much capital as possible, but just bring down the risk. So that's what I've done. So I trade exactly the same, but instead of risking 2%, I start with 1%. And then if I'm confident and I've got the confirmations, I will add another position. So I can scale up to 2%, but I start with 1% first because this time my goal is to hit scaling programs with as many firms as possible. I don't want to be losing funded accounts and then buying them again. I want to keep the accounts. I want to keep my risk low. I want to get payouts because look, 1% on 3.25 million is 32 grand a month. So if I can make 3%, that's like almost 100K a month, right? So it's crazy. So I don't need to take crazy risk now. So yeah, I just go back to my journal. I improve, I study, I analyze, and then I get better. I implement it. And yeah, as you see, it's been working because it's just been crazy month.
You only have 1-to-1s, 1-to-2s, like a small risk reward trade. And also you mentioned that in the past you risked 2%. Maybe it was because you were passing challenges and now you have live accounts and maybe you want to keep them in place because maybe that's why you wanted to pass that challenge, especially when you're a swing trader. I imagine that it's hard to wait for your setups to play because it's a long period of time. And of course you have to increase the risk a little bit for you to be rewarding.
Yeah, so I trade the challenges and the funded accounts the same. I'm not more aggressive because I was aggressive anyway. So I was risking 2% on the challenges and then 2% on the funded accounts. But now I would say, yeah, it's between 1 and 2% still. But I'm just quicker to get out of a trade if it goes against me now. I've got better as well. And like I say, I start with 1%. But with the swings that I get, even though it's 1-to-1, 1-to-2, I'm risking, let's say 50, 60 pips. But if you're making 100 pips and you got 60 to 65% win rate, which is what I usually average, then, you can make a great living. And most people, they're very active. People that are funded with prop firms, I think they're mostly intraday traders. There's very few people that will hold trades for more than a day. I'm holding trades for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days sometimes. So I think there's something to be said about trading less, zooming out on the time frame and holding the trades for longer. And I think if you look at the stats that are coming out from prop firms on people that hold their accounts the longest time and are reaching scaling programs and they're hitting consistent payouts, usually it's people that trade less. So I think it's definitely something to learn there for the viewers watching this. Be less active. You don't need to be in a trade every single day. Learn to sit on your hands. I have this problem all the time with people in my groups. They say, "Oh, I want to be in the market. I don't want to be," but I'm like, you need, sitting on the sidelines is also a position, because we get paid to wait and to be patient. And if you're overactive, I've been there. We've all been there. If you force a trade, more than likely 9 times out of 10, you're just going to lose, right? And then you're going to regret it. So you need to overcome those impulses, because if you can't, essentially you're gambling, and you need to make this a game about probabilities. So put the probabilities in your favor. And if you are gambling, usually it means you're gambling because you don't have a strategy, you don't have risk management, you're not journaling, you're not back testing. So you need to do all of those things, because when you're confident in your edge over a long period, you'll have no issues in being patient. And that's my massive edge. I can stay out of the market. I can hold trades for a week. Most people, they'll see a retracement and then they'll get scared and they'll get out. And then you go up, they'll see a retracement and they'll exit, and then it'll carry on going upwards. So, my strategy keeps me in trends, as well as getting me out when the market's going against me. So yeah, trade less, learn to sit on your hands. That's a big thing.
Another great piece of advice. I see that you introduced a lot of psychology facts inside this interview. Like, you really believe that psychology is an important part in your trading, even if your trading is based on technicals a lot.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Did you read books about psychology in the past? Can you recommend some if you did, or is it only developed from your own experience?
Yeah, so I have to let you into a little secret here. I haven't read a book for years, since I was probably a child. I think I have mild ADHD as well, because I can't just sit and focus on a book. I can focus on a chart for hours, but I find it very difficult I want to read, but I find it difficult to sit down and just focus on a book. My mind's always running at 100 miles an hour. So I don't want to personally recommend any books, but I know many people, they recommend Mark Douglas, Trading in the Zone for Psychology. In terms of myself, my psychology was lacking until I'd say the last couple of years, to be honest, which wasn't the right thing to do. You should focus on psychology. I was always just focused on the technicals and the charts. But recently, psychology has been a big one. I'm booked on a psychology call after this with Rodrigo. So shout out to him. Yeah, I've got a call with him for half an hour today, just to go over being able to switch off from the markets, because I find it very hard to switch off from the markets. So yeah, what's helped me is, again, I'll come back to it. I call it my Bible of trading. So it's my journaling. So if I'm feeling anxious or I feel like I'm missing out, I go back to the journal. I look at past similar structures. And then I'll be like, okay, based on the journal, there's no need to rush into a trade. There's always another trade around the corner. That's a big thing I've learned, especially on Forex and in the Euro USD. If you miss a trade, don't worry. There'll be a trade tomorrow, or there'll be a trade in 2 days. You're not missing anything. Use that as a chance to learn. So psychology, reduce your position sizing. That's a big one. Because if you're over position sized and over leveraged, you're not going to think clearly. So every time your position starts going against you a little bit, or you go into drawdown, you may hold on to losses longer than you should in the hope that it turns around. Again, that comes down to not being confident in your strategy. So for me, everything comes from strategy. Psychology comes from for me, it's come from experience. It's come over time. It's taken a long time, a lot longer than it should have. Maybe if I read a few books, it would have come sooner. So that's something I'm working on. But for me, it just comes from, trying to zone out from the markets as well, doing other things, other activities like going to the gym, going to restaurants, whatever you enjoy. I enjoy cooking and things like that. So that's how I try and zone out from the markets. Don't stare at the screens all day is another one. I'm guilty of that. I'm always checking my phone to see what the price is. Once you're in a trade, just leave it. Especially if you're a 4-hour swing trader like me, there's no need to be checking the markets every minute. So that's something I'm working on as well. But yeah, so I think that covers most of it for me, really.
Wow. Yeah, you pointed a lot of great things again, especially when you're a swing trader. I believe that it's so hard to make a difference about your day-to-day life and trading, because the trade is always there. The trade is active. It's active when you're sleeping. It's active when you wake up. You always, like, if you're an inexperienced trader, you will always feel the need to watch it and to be connected to the charts. So it's great that you mentioned the fact that you need to have your free time, basically, and enjoy life. Maybe that's why you started trading in the first place, because we tend to do this, especially the people that are in the community and have a community for themselves to teach about trading. Like, we tend to be there too much, maybe, and we have to we have to have some time for ourselves, some private time.
No, I've been guilty of it as well in the past. Like, I'm always checking my phone I'm on Telegram, answering people's questions, because I'm very approachable and I like to engage with them every day and answer their questions. But then you start answering questions and then more people come and they ask more and more questions. And then Saturday night, Sunday, like 2 a.m, there's a question, you look at your phone, and then, like, I used to be that guy that would just answer straight away. And then, like, I'd be out on the weekend with my fiance and she'd just take the phone off me. She said, "No, you're not answering anything today. Enjoy your time out." So yeah, I've learned to distance myself from that as well. Yeah, also, like, being on Twitter, I used to spend a lot of time on there. It can consume your whole day because you're just constantly scrolling. I do enjoy Twitter though, because I find there's a lot of value there from people. So you have to just try and detach. I was that person, like, I'd be in bed and then, like, at 2 a.m, I get my phone out just to check the price. But it's silly because my hours of trading are actually, so I execute all my trades between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. London time. So there's actually no need for me to be looking at markets out after 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. the next morning. But I used to find myself still just staring at the charts, like willing it to go hit my target, but there's no need. So yeah, it's important to have time out. Also, trading's very lonely. I think it is an individual endeavor. Take time out to see your friends, your family, be in a community as well. That helps, but nothing replaces seeing real people and doing real things. So for me this year, I've traveled. I think this year I've been 3 or 4 countries, which, I wasn't able to do that before prop because I couldn't afford it. I wouldn't have had the money. So yeah, just go for walks, work out, do what interests you, read a book. You have to zone out. It's very important. You can't be locked in because you will burn out. And if you're burnt out mentally, then you're going to make the wrong choices when you are trading.
Thank you so much for all the pieces of advice for the viewers. They were really valuable for me, and I'm pretty sure that they will be valuable for the gold funded traders that are watching. Thank you so much for your time, Ryhan. I really think that this interview was really valuable, and maybe you want to share your socials to the people that are watching. Maybe they want to find you later. Where can they find you?
Yes, I'm active on Twitter, so at the Eurotrader1. That's my handle. And then you can find all my links on my Twitter bio. So my main, is the handle for Twitter. That's my main social media platform. And then I have a Telegram community. I've got over 2,100 members in there now. And we all post our analysis. We discuss, we have two separate groups. So one for Euro USD only discussion and another about anything prop related questions. So you can find that through my Twitter bio link. All my links are there. And I look forward to engaging with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.